We are going live. So I am live. Here you go. I am live here on Facebook, but just so you know, I am live actually right here on my page, Sacred Home with Kristel. So would love for you to join me for our topic today. I'm going to hear us. Yeah, close this out. The link is going to be provided. So looking forward to you joining me, asking you your questions. And yeah, we'll talk about equity, how the market is moving. So join me on the live or the replay. Thank you, YouTube, as I am letting people on Facebook know where we are and record. Awesome. Welcome, welcome. New Coffee Talk with Kristel. Whew, Valentine. But before we go into Valentine, I'm definitely going to cover what I have here, the housing market. Let me just make one more adjustment here, so I can see both screens. All right. So just giving it one more moment here. Then you'll join. And today we're talking about the housing market weakening, or is it just rebalancing? So, good morning. Happy Thursday. Coffee Talk with Kristel. Ahead of Valentine, hearts everywhere, love everywhere. And if you're not doing that just because, hey, I don't want to go into the commercial part of what Valentine means, do it for yourself, love. So now we're going to talk about the love of real estate and the housing market, how it's moving. And deep breath in, allow what needs to come in to be for you. And more questions, you know how to book a call with me. In my bio, you find the information. But today we are talking about, are we heading into a slowdown or are we quietly entering a healthier market? Because those are actually two different things. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I believe it is showing the chart from MBS Highway Housing Index. So let's go over this topic. So the housing index is at 43. Let me make sure. Can we make it bigger? It's as big as we go. But I do think you can see it, right, Irene? We see it, correct? Yeah, I think we do. Okay, so the housing index is at 43, as you can see here. Simple explanation of what that is. When the index is above 50, it signals expansion and stronger momentum. Below 50, it signals slower activity and contraction. So we are below 50. But we did jump from January 2026 to now, about 9 points. That means there's momentum and there's improvement. So that's a great sign. So the national overview here, we're going to then go into the Southeast. The national buyer activity is 47. So buyers are active, they're not aggressive. And then the price direction is at 39, right here. Prices are stable, but they are not accelerating. In the South, as you can see here, we are in South. I'm covering because I'm licensed in Georgia and Florida, but I can help you anywhere in the country. So for the South, we are seeing buyer activity at 45, which is a healthy engagement, and price direction at 29, which is a soft price growth. So what does this tell us? It tells us there's a demand that exists. Yes, I am seeing a lot of pre-approvals, but sellers must still price realistically. So based on your market, that's not just in general Georgia or Florida, it's actually based on Atlanta, based on your zip code, based on the area. So you go granular with your realtor when you do price. So listen to your realtor. If you have trust that they have studied your market, listen to them and follow their directive. So in Georgia, inventory is rising. Days on the market is longer. Prices are mostly stable. In Florida, inventory meaningfully is higher. Single family is steady and condos are softer. This is a balancing market. It's not a crash. So I want you to go ahead and reflect on this. If you own a home in Georgia or in Florida, the Southeast region, does this feel like a market to panic in or a market to plan in? And that's where I would like for you to understand this shift, what it means specifically for your home value and equity position. So I can walk you through this privately. So book a call with me. Let's go over not just the number nationally. What does it mean for you? It's great to know the headlines, but book a call with me. Let's go over your options. Topic number 2. When people think about accessing their equity, they usually think they only have 2 options. I have to sell or do nothing. But that's actually not accurate. So that's what we're going to cover today. And bear with me as I make a switch here. Okay. So again, let me just say this one more time. When people think about accessing their equity, they usually think they only have 2 options: sell the house or do nothing. But that's actually not accurate. Why do I say that? So I'm going to go through some examples for you. The first example, selling. You have an Atlanta homeowner who's bought a home in 2019 at about $410,000. Now it's worth over $590,000. They are emotionally stuck because they have, what do they have? About a 3% interest rate. So basically anything below 4%. It's like, do I go into the next home? How am I going to get that rate? It is higher than that right now. But when we ran the full picture, they could actually eliminate all consumer debt. They could downsize and reduce monthly expenses significantly. And I did share another scenario, Tony, from last week, that's what actually they're doing because of family dynamic, where they actually decided we don't need to go bigger and higher. We actually want to downsize, 1 slab home, but we want to make sure that everything is much more flexible for us with our budget. So selling wasn't about rate, it was about the lifestyle alignment. Okay. So whatever your scenario is, you get to analyze and see what is my lifestyle and how can I make adjustments and sell the property when I sell my property and use the equity. Another example is using a HELOC. So I have a Florida business owner who has a strong equity, and he did not want to touch his first mortgage, which is understandable. When you have rates below what the current market is, you don't want to do that. So we structured a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. A HELOC, just quickly, is really a second lien that you can access by not touching the first. And you have usually, depending on the term, about 5 years to use it as kind of your banking, right? Where you just pay, you use, you pay, you use. So we use that strategy for him because it's short-term liquidity. He can pay down, he can reuse it as income cycled. Mostly when you own a business, when you commission, and that fluctuation in your income, that is kind of a savior, and you only pay on what you use. You have about 5 years to do that. So it gives flexibility without actually replacing the great first mortgage. Example number 3. This is when I have a client who is a salaried borrower who salary or fixed income, but there isn't really like that fluctuation. They know what it's going to be. It doesn't really move. Even if there's a raise, it's let's say minimal, right? And they have about $40,000 in high interest credit cards or even personal loan. So what do? We now structure this with a fixed rate second. So we're talking about a HE loan. So instead of HELOC, we do a fixed rate second. We know what your payment is going to be. It's over a longer period of time, so the payment is less. The intent is to not get back into major debt, and the payment is less, gives you flexibility to save some more. But then we did not refinance the first mortgage. The combined payment is still the same or even better. When I say it's the same, is that sometimes it actually would not be exactly the same. It could be improving the cash flow, or you can access some money, take some money from it, you condense the debt, take some money as well and do another project and keep your payment either the same or improve. So it depends on your actual goal. So if you didn't have to give up your current mortgage rate, would that change how you think about accessing your equity? So we need to think about that. If I am not touching my first mortgage, everything is the same on the first, $1,500, but now you have access to your equity without touching that, would you actually think about utilizing your equity, or would you freeze and say, I'm just going to wait and see? So if you are open to seeing your options side by side, selling versus line of credit versus a fixed equity loan, I can run the numbers with you to compare. No pressure, but at least knowing where you stand and what your options are. Now, are you in a high income, but your cash flow is tight? That's my next topic with you. Again, we're still talking about equity because a lot of people in the US currently have a lot of equity and they don't know how to access it, or they're just dormant. So I work with homeowners who earn strong incomes, but they still feel monthly pressure. It's not because of income issue, it's more of a structure issue. So in a balanced market, appreciation shows that means I'm sorry, in a balanced market, appreciation slows down. Okay. But that means your advantage shifts to you have cash flow control, high interest debts, and fragmented payments, multiple due dates. That is a drain, a momentum, right? So let me give you an example to make it clear, even for myself. So Florida homeowner earning well over six figure has credit cards with 22% interest rate, personal loans, let's say 14%. We can structure it using equity. Like I just mentioned, you do a line of credit or you do a HE loan. Reduce the monthly obligation, improve the debt to income ratio, also improves the credit because now the debts are lower and they don't really have to borrow more. They are reorganizing smarter their debt. So I want you to reflect, if nothing changes in your current payment structure over the next 24 months, are you moving forward financially or are you just threading water? Which one are you? Take a moment to reflect on this for yourself. Not right or wrong. This is reality of where you are, what can be done because you have opportunities and options when you have equity. Now, if you like to review your current structure and see how I can optimize without increasing the risk, I'm happy to actually take time for that, right? So let me know. Book a call with me. Okay. Topic number 4, still about the equity. Is it working or is it just sitting? Equity is one of the largest financial tools most homeowners have, but they may never use it strategically. And in a balanced market, strategy matters more than speed. Strategy also means education, information before you just jump into it. I've had clients who are kind of like, I would say, like a better word, kind of messed up by saying, well, this is going to get better. And then they get behind on credit cards, they get behind on debts, while when they were right there seeing the deep end and say, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Do this before, because at that point, your income is still there, your credit is still maybe intact. We can restructure your debts and avoid any late or any income that totally disappear. So let's talk way before if possible. But if you are right there and it's like, hey, this is my situation, we can do, of course we'll do that. But I encourage you to do it ahead of letting payments slide. So I'm going to give you a context of a southeast price direction is soft, inventory is high. What that means is that negotiation opportunities exist. Builders, they offer incentives. Sellers, they negotiate. Competition is rational. So in Georgia, let's say a client used equity to secure a rental property while others were waiting for perfect conditions, right? If I'm going to access my equity right now, do I need to wait for the rates to get better for my next purchase, even as an investment? But the one who is willing to take, I won't say the risk, but really knowing that once I purchase, I lock in my price. Yes, I do have a higher potential interest rate because I don't know what the market's going to look like. It may improve because they say it might. But if you stay with it might and wait, the price of the home can go up while the interest rates may be improved and you might still be at the same scenario. But in the future you've purchased at a higher, your interest rate is where you can actually change. So if you are currently looking to invest into real estate using the equity in your home, let's go ahead and talk about accessing the equity. You can negotiate with the seller. It's more flexible right now because the properties are still in the market longer, and you can lock in a long-term rental potential, and you can always refinance your new mortgage and having a better rate once the market improves even better. So position early while others hesitate is where the opportunity is. So if your equity could fund your next opportunity, whether it's investment, helping family, or expanding your business, would you want to know what that looks like? And if you do, if you're curious what your equity could support your next move, then let's explore that together. Doesn't mean that you have to do it. I don't pressure you, but I give you an opportunity to think, reflect, and reassess where you are and what improvement we can make. So this market is not extreme. It's balanced, it's rational, and it's rewards preparation. I always say, work on what you can control. Your credit, your income to some extent, to a major extent, but your income, your assets. That be for a first-time home buyer, for an investor, or somebody who's currently owning their home. And preparing is first by having education from somebody you trust. And maybe you've worked with me before and you reassess your situation. Because I'm going to give you advice based on numbers, based on your situation, not just, hey, I know this is the best thing for you. Because you know what's best for you. We just need to open that up for you to say, hey, those are my opportunities. I get to choose with clarity, with understanding, with education. So if you want clarity around your equity position, whether you plan to sell, to hold, or invest, let's review it together. And even if you choose to do nothing, at least you would have learned and been informed about, I'm not doing anything because this is what works best for me. All right, so those are my topics. I think I went through those pretty quickly today, but those are my topics for today. We'll love to connect with you. Yeah, I'm closing out this section because you know what comes next, right? In this month again of love, we need to love on the fact that you have gained so much equity by positioning yourself when you purchased at the time where rates were lower, or you refinance at that time, you still have this property. There's so much that's possible. And sometimes I hear clients say, well, I'm stuck. And that's where I want to help you get unstuck. Okay. So before I go into the mystical part with Kristel, I want you to wish you, because if you're not into that section, I want to wish you an amazing week with Thursday, rest of the week, and Valentine. And my message actually for Valentine right now, just in general, is whether or not you are in a intimate relationship where you have a partner, where you get to do the dinner and all those in their hearts and all, or even with your kids. Love the things that are right here, being grateful, but at a heightened level of gratitude. So in the real estate topic right now of loving, even if you're renting a home, love that home. Even if you own a home and you have debts, love the fact that you have an opportunity to make mortgage payments and you still own your home. Love on everything. Love, love, love. That is how I'm going to leave this section of my talk with you. All right, now let's go into the mystical part. And we're going to review again grounding ourselves, which, by the way, I did about 20 minutes before this call. So I'm just going to guide you into what grounding would be for you. You may be new to this conversation. You may be new to listening to this section of my call. And that's really when you're planting your feet on the ground. And personally, because I know that there's magnetic field in our hands, You know, when somebody, your parents like caress your hair, caress your body, there's like a soothing part. So you can soothe yourself, right, by placing your hands on your laps or even on your heart or even opening to receive. Personally, to ground myself even more, I do like to place my hands on my laps and connecting from my heart. So not to go into the depth of the different energy centers, but the energy of your heart, and then bring it all the way to the center of your body and to the earth, grounding into Mother Earth, because we are living a reality. That word reality is pretty charged, but we're going to see this reality that is mine, that is yours. It may be a different tone to what my reality is compared to your reality. But what I ask personally is that I connect the highest version of the reality, meaning the most imaginary, real, um, removing distractions and illusions, just really the truth of the reality that's there for me into the earth, into this realm. Because a lot of times we like to connect, in prayer with God, which God to me is in everything. So, um, and again, word like God, Jesus Christ, all this, so really the divine presence, right? What is divine presence? Divine love. What is divine love? It's love. It's it's love. It's joy. It's that energy and that frequency that really activates you in a realm that feels peace, like peace, joy, um, bliss, the other one, bliss. Okay. So first connecting in gratitude for the fact that we are humans who are having a spiritual experience. No, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Reverse it, Kristel. So you ground yourself by remembering that we have that gravity, right? So that gravity is gravity to the earth. So connecting with gratitude, with love for all that we're experiencing. I am currently in the Caribbean and I have so much love for what I see. I'm not in a big city. I'm in a big city for an island, but so many trees, palm trees and coconut trees and fruit trees. So by just even looking around, as I'm saying that to you, that is what is present. I get to be grateful for this earth that is nourishing us, our body, our fruit, our food, but also the oxygen that we breathe, like all of it, omnipresence. And then you bring this back into your heart. So breathing it down and bringing it, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Mother Earth, for all that you're giving me, all that you're giving us. And then once you're back into your heart, bring it all the way up in gratitude. Now, different people have different ways where it's like, well, God to come down, me going up. It's really just connecting. I ask for the spark in me to expand and to connect at its highest and ultimate place that I can with my vessel, with my body, with my frequency, with my energy to connect with that divine presence, with love, infinite intelligence. Going from I believe there's infinite intelligence. I believe God. I believe to knowing. How do you know? Is by experience. So the reason why I start by doing this is to get you more and more to experience. It might be a subtle change. Some people may never feel anything. Doesn't mean it's not happening. But the more you intentionally say, what the heck is Kristel talking about? Feeling energy and everything. Allow yourself. Quiet everything. When I say quiet, is maybe removing the music or play specific music that gets you tuned into the energy and frequency of Mother Earth. Just a quick thing that I haven't shared before on this. If you would like to connect to the energy and frequency of love, harmony, there are what's called HZ, 528 and 432 AC. If you go in nature, that is a frequency that nature is at. 432, 528. You can go on YouTube. I am not going to say they are all 100% playing the exact frequency and tune, but that's a place to start. Connect with that vibration, connect with that energy. That's a great place to be. Most if you live in a city where there's chaos and music and sound and everything around you, your neighbor, put on your headphones, play that frequency. 528, 432 HC. 5 minutes. Allow yourself to be in the presence of nature, of love. Okay, now that I started with that grounding, which was almost 10 minutes, but I gave you some nuggets, right? Some nuggets of information to look up, frequencies, connecting to the earth, gratitude for the spark that's within you, you, each one of you, each one of us, even the neighbor that we don't necessarily like, but we get to love on each one of our neighbors because that spark gets bigger and bigger. And the reason why we don't like them is starting to disappear because we've expanded our vessel and ability to just love. So, what is more in depth of a message that I have for you today? And really, it continues to be about love. Mm. Everybody is different of where to start with experiencing love. I could start with love on an image that is most precious to you. When somebody would say that to me, it's like, think of the best place or the place that really brings joy to you to get you started, to get you plugged into that. If I think of a place, it used to be for me the beach, just being at the beach, the wide open horizon of the ocean. Then I moved to New Hampshire, which was a forest, and I was staring out because I'm like, I love trees, but y'all too big. Like, I can't see. Like, there's no horizon. I had to learn to even love that. And then I started having a shift of favorite places to be is in serenity for me to connect as far as nature place. It would be actually, I would say a little bit of California landscape where you can see the ocean at the same time you can see the mountain, like a combination of things. Because I expanded where I was feeling like I was being swallowed by nature, by trees because palm trees, I have a big tall palm tree here, but the rest is like the palm tree is here and then the other trees are here. I can still see the big mountain that's on the other side of the island. But when it's a big forest, like not like in the islands here, all the time, even Atlanta actually, you really have the trees so much taller. I used to like, I'm disappearing. I'm only 5'3". Like I'm disappearing in this forest. So letting that go, embracing this aspect, because it was there for me to embrace, removing the block, removing the shadow of what that means. And embracing. Then I incorporated and now added that level of nature. Now, if you were to ask me, think of somebody that brings joy to you right away. My niece, my little 5-year-old is going to be 6 pretty soon, niece, because she brings joy to me. But then I want you to then say, I want to ask you now, if something about yourself that brings joy, that might actually take longer because we don't always have that appreciation for self. And right now, for me, is who I have become is that vessel to speak her truth, meaning what comes up, not as this is the only truth, this is my experience. And what I love most about right now in this season is reflecting on all the places that I have been that were unknown for me, because I love to discover. So my invitation is allow yourself in your mind, where is it that I love myself? In which environment? In which moment? I also love just being home in my space, me, just being me, with no agenda, no place to discover except discover self. So as you look around in gratitude for everything, it's coming to your sacred home, you, the home within, and loving each part of it, even the failures, because the failures allow, when we're feeling forward with that concept, allow to actually open and expand your vessel, your body, your mind, your spirit, all your energy bodies. So, wherever you are in the spectrum of Valentine, be your own Valentine. Now, if you're married or in a relationship, be your own Valentine first and invite your partner to be in communion with you, but be your Valentine with yourself first, with infinite intelligence, with your higher self, with basically love, the wisdom of love. So my invitation, before you talk positively, negatively about all of the energy around Valentine. Oh, I have no Valentine. Oh, I have one. All of those. Just be grateful there's a reminder. The same as we have Christmas and all those. It's not about so much celebrating them. It's just bringing the focus, right? Where the focus goes, the energy goes. It's an amazing opportunity to heighten your experience of love. Not knowing what love is, experience of love. That could be feeding a total stranger. That could be if you're in a cold area right now, giving them warm clothes or something while they are, even though they are homeless, to give them access to warmth. That could be to a stranger. That could be to a family member. That could be the courage to say, you know what? Today's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay, so maybe it's through Saturday, 3 days, 3 people. Each day, whichever person comes to mind that I have the biggest beef with, that I'm like, ugh, I get to reach out and say, first reach out to yourself, right? Allow yourself to be with it. Intention. So I'm going to use an example. Who can come to mind right now that so I have a person in mind. I love the experience that we've had, the journey of life together. I am sorry. No, I'm going to say, please forgive me. Please forgive me for any way that I made you feel. Forgive me for me judging you or how you made me feel. And you can say all of those things. I'm sorry for the experience that we had. I'm sorry I wasn't, let's just say I'm thinking my ex-husband. I'm sorry I wasn't the wife that you expected. I'm sorry things did not work out. Anything and everything. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the journey of being married 15 years with all that it had. So it's the Oponopono. I love you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. And I thank you. You can use those 4 statements and add next to them all that you desire. You don't have to say, knock, knock, knock. Hey, I want to tell you Oponopono. Hear this out. Or you could and have fun with it. You can structure it in a way by starting by saying, and even if you don't want to say, I love you as a person, because you still have resistance, you can say, I love the experience. I love and appreciate. Like, it's a way of building the bridge of forgiveness, letting go, and building the bridge of love at a different level, at a different way. You get to create a new way, a new relationship of love. It doesn't have to be an intimacy part. It doesn't have to be a husband again or a partner or any of that. It's just really that cord, that connection that you have with this person is not open to possibilities. And that possibility is that there's nothing really, but there's one thing is that you don't feel triggered if I mention that person. You don't feel like, oh my gosh, this person again. Like that is softened, that is gone. Because what it allows is when you let that go, it gives room for something more beautiful. Another person comes in, another experience comes in, but from a place now of a heightened, a higher level of love. I love the opportunity to come and share my experience on YouTube. Please forgive me if I triggered you by using words like God or by mentioning things that were not comfortable and you just clicked off this call. I'm sorry it did not resonate with you. And I thank you for giving me an opportunity to plant a seed in your mind. I thank you for the opportunity to express what is there for me with no attachments, just an opportunity for me to give you the wisdom that I've gained as I have traveled, I have learned, I have taken classes, I have raised my frequency, and an opportunity for you to receive so that reciprocity, law of reciprocity, with your messages on my post, with your outreach, it's me receiving feedback. So there is a constant exchange. And my intention is for it to be as harmonious as possible with starting with me and my relationship with others. Because as I keep on doing the ripple effect from myself to those who are closest to me, it then goes from them into other people's lives. And then their lives into others. That's where we create communities where it is harmonious. It doesn't start with the politics. It doesn't start with the country. It doesn't start with the government. It doesn't start with the bigger picture. It starts with one person, with us. The more of us who are coming from our heart space, the more others, the way I can see that neighbor that I used to have maybe a beef with, I can now see the spark in that person because I intentionally want to see the spark in everyone. There are more sparks that are rising. That light gets brighter. That auric field gets brighter for me to experience it, but for them. Love unlocks so much. Give it a chance. We've unfortunately been programmed to go into performance, fear, pain, because that's part of the human psyche too, right? And programming of environment of, in order for me to know we're having a relationship, that means that you responding, you're tact, like there's like that dynamic and it's like that fight and flight or that freeze. A lot of psychology you can hear on YouTube. But we can consciously make a choice. How does this feel in me? This exchange, did it expand me or did it contract me? Very similar to the charts that we talked about today. Was there a contraction? Don't make yourself wrong if there's still contraction. Know that you are improving because you're already now having the awareness that your desire is to expand your heart beyond the fear of the pain. What comes up for me, and I think I will close with this, times we are afraid of loving because we got hurt. I admit, after my divorce, I'm like, I don't want to get in an intimate relationship right now, which is for me, and I would say for most, it's probably best to give time to reassess and be self again. Then I had an amazing other relationship, and that one brought mirrors of abandonment, of worthiness. I didn't have words for this before when I was married or divorced, but now I had better words for those, and it allowed me to heal those, not just at the level of self at the moment as an adult who has a broken relationship, but as a person that I get to see where did that actually start? And it's not to bring parents and all that. It's like, let's go to the root cause. What created that? Wow, that experience created that. Okay, I get to send love and light to it. That whoever was in the dynamic of it did the best they could. And maybe this wasn't for the long-term season. This was for the shorter time to bring that awareness. I do feel personally, all of my relationship have had a gift. They all have had a gift. And the most recent one had both depth of love and depth of hurt. Not blaming anyone, is experience that I needed to expand my ability to grow my level of love. My intention each day is to show up as love. My intention each day is to respond from love. My intention each day, each moment, is for myself to experience love. Because if I can experience love and give love to others, there's an opportunity for them to also connect with themselves and say, you know what? I want to experience love as well. So from the brokenness, love can arise. From love, love can amplify. I'm not saying go into the brokenness. I'm just expressing from mine. And love is love of all of it, even the painful one, even the painful moments, the painful relationships. Because I experience a peace, a joy, even in my meditation. I talked about it last week, by sitting and asking, yes, get me to experience peace, calm. When you're sitting by yourself, I would say it's a little bit easier to do that. But get me while I'm sitting to experience joy, to experience bliss. Bring into my field the energy of bliss, the energy of fun. Ask and you shall receive. Ask for it in your meditation, not just peace and quiet. That's good. That's where you are. Ask for that love. That's fun. And fun sometimes feels like, well, it's a temporary. I need to have fun by dancing, doing it's the fun, the energy of it. I have fun just even sharing this, right? Ask, you shall receive, because now your energy is saying she wants to experience more of that. Where the focus goes, the energy goes. So with that, I wish you an amazing next few days of amplifying the energy of love. My niece does that all the time. She poses like a hand and with a heart. So I am sending you love. I am not the best at doing those, but sending you love from my heart to yours, to your household. Amplify and ripple effect of energy of love. And so it is.